Have you ever just stopped and felt like you're not fully in charge of your own life? You know, like there are these invisible strings pulling you towards certain moods or actions or even thoughts you didn't consciously choose? Well, what if I told you there's an ancient blueprint that actually names these unseen puppeteers? And even better, it shows us how to cut the strings for good.
I mean, really think about that for a second. That cup of coffee you have to have in the morning. The way you instantly react when you're stressed. Even that relentless drive to succeed. Are those really conscious choices you're making every single day? Or are they just deeply worn grooves, patterns that are running on autopilot? That's the heart of what we're talking about today. The razor-thin line between our freedom and our bondage.
And you know, this isn't some new age idea. We're diving deep into the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 14, where the divine figure Krishna lays out this incredible framework of three fundamental forces of nature. The text calls them the gunas, and they really do act like these invisible strings, influencing, well, everything. Your personality, your emotions, your biggest dreams, the whole shebang. All right, so let's pull back the curtain and meet these puppeteers by name. They are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Seriously, just getting to know these three qualities, understanding how they work, that is the absolute first step to taking back control. It's how you go from being a puppet of nature to becoming the master of your own life. Okay, so here's a quick cheat sheet for you. Think of these as the three primary colors of our entire existence, and every single experience we have is just a different mix of these three. You've got sattva, that's the power of knowledge and harmony. Then there's rajas, the power of seeking, of action, of doing. And finally, you have tamas, the power of inertia, of standing still, even unconsciousness. So let's break them down one by one. First up is sattva. Now, this is the one we all kind of strive for, right? It's that quality of balance, of harmony, of light. When sattva is the main guna at play, you feel clear, you feel peaceful, you feel content. It's that beautiful feeling of effortless flow where you just get it. It's what we usually call goodness, health, wisdom, and that quiet inner joy.
Next, meet Rajas. Rajas is the engine. It's that fiery, kinetic energy of action, desire, and ambition. It's what literally gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what drives you to build, to create, to achieve. But, and this is a big but, it's a double-edged sword. Because it always comes from a feeling that something is missing, a sense of lack. And that can easily tip over into restlessness, greed, and the pain that comes when our desires just aren't met.
And rounding out the trio, we have tamas. This is the force of inertia, of darkness, of resistance. It feels heavy. It shows up as laziness, confusion, procrastination, that feeling of just being stuck in the mud. Now, it sounds all bad, but tamas isn't the enemy. It's also the force that allows for rest and deep sleep, which is absolutely essential before any new action can even begin. Now, here is the most important thing to get. These three forces are never, ever working by themselves. They are in this constant dynamic dance with each other. A perfect example is a seed in the ground. At first, it's all tamas, total inertia, just sitting there. But you add some water and sunlight, and boom, rajas, the force of creation, kicks in and it bursts to life. And then sattva comes in to bring harmony and balance to that growth, guiding it into a strong, stable plant. Our own minds, our own moods are in that exact same dance all day, every day. So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, got it. The goal is just to get rid of tamas and rajas and live in a state of pure, blissful sattva, right? Easy. Well, not so fast. This is where this teaching gets incredibly deep, and it flips our whole idea of good and bad completely on its head. Just let that one sink in for a minute. Even sattva, the quality of goodness, of light, of happiness, is a form of bondage, a chain. Why? Because it binds us through attachment. We get attached to feeling happy. We get attached to being the smart one, the knowledgeable one. We get attached to everything being peaceful and perfect. And without even realizing it, we build ourselves a beautiful, comfortable, golden cage. And that reveals this absolutely crucial difference. The happiness that comes from sattva is conditional. It depends on things going your way, right? It depends on the outside world. But the Gita points us toward a totally different kind of happiness, a psychic happiness that is unconditional. It doesn't depend on anything. It's just there, self-existent in the very core of your being. One is a golden chain for sure. The other is what it means to be truly free. So you see, the ultimate goal here isn't just to climb the ladder from the bottom rung of tamas up to the top rung of sattva. The real goal is to transcend the entire ladder, to kick it away, to become what the Gita calls trigunatita, which means one who is beyond all three gunas, living in a state of absolute, unshakable, unconditional freedom. Okay, so if that's the goal, total freedom, how in the world do we actually do it? How do we cut the strings of these puppeteers? Well, the Gita doesn't just leave us hanging. It gives us a very clear, very practical path. It's all about using the forces of nature to actually climb beyond nature itself. It's a step-by-step transformation, like climbing a ladder. First, when you're feeling stuck in tamas, you use the active, fiery energy of rajas to just get moving and break through that inertia. Then, once you're in motion, you use the clarity and wisdom of sattva to purify all that restless, desire-driven action. And finally, from that peak of harmony, you take the ultimate leap. You let go of even the attachment to being good to reach that state of pure freedom. It's genius, really. You use the gunas to climb beyond the gunas. At the very heart of this practice are two really profound ideas about letting go. The first one is pretty famous. You abandon your attachment to the fruits of your actions. You do the work, but you let go of needing a specific outcome, whether it's success or failure. But the second one, this one's even more subtle and maybe even more powerful. You have to abandon your attachment to the way you do things. That means letting go of the ego's need for things to be done my way, even if your way is a super efficient, super sattvic way. So what does this actually look like in a person? What does it feel like to be someone who has actually cut the strings and is living in this unbound state? Well, the Gita gives us some very clear signs to look for. A person who is truly free has this unshakable calm. They can face pleasure and pain, success and failure with this kind of steadfast equality because they see it all for what it is, just the play of the gunas. They become a witness to their own thoughts and feelings, watching the show without getting pulled onto the stage. They're no longer run by compulsion or habit. They act from a place of pure, conscious choice. And that brings us to one last really provocative question for you to take with you. We're always focused on breaking our bad habits, right? But this ancient wisdom challenges us to go so much deeper. What good habit, what sattvic attachment to order or perfection or even knowledge could you consciously let go of just for this week to get a small taste of what it means to be truly unconditionally free? It's a wild thought, but an experiment worth trying. Thanks for digging into this with us.